What is good, everyone? It is Zigzag here. Welcome back to GeoGuessr Explained, the second channel where we explain some GeoGuessr. And you'll notice that I don't have GeoGuessr up right now because I have a good friend of mine right here, and I'll get him to introduce himself in a sec. But we're going to be doing some USA guessing based on plants and vegetation today. So why don't you introduce yourself, my friend?
What's up, everybody? My name is Phil. I go by GeoNebula on YouTube and Nebula Belt on Twitch. I am pretty new to GeoGuessr, but I'm a big plant fanatic. And lately I've been doing some streams where I basically try to find out where I am using just plants as much as possible, and it's been a lot of fun.
So yeah, a viewer of mine linked me one of your videos, and as soon as I watched the first 5 minutes, I knew I had to have you on because your knowledge of American plants is extensive and quite exciting. It opens up new avenues, I think, for accurate guesses, and honestly, just like the general knowledge of it is fascinating as well. So I'll have his links in the description, by the way, so do follow him and check out the video he has out on YouTube as well. So.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course, man. So, basically, before we get into today's video, we're just going to look at iNaturalist quickly, which is a site for like determining where like users upload images and kind of data, like it's a collective database for different species around the world for basically any species you could think of plant and even animals too. So, why don't you just give us like a few quick searches that we could do to like that might be informative in the US.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Let's run it.
Let's run it. Type in sweet gum.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good example.
Sweet gum. Okay, and
Oh, sorry.
yeah,
Yeah, that one right there at the
yeah.
top.
Let's hit
Perfect.
that. Okay, so this is definitely an eastern species.
Absolutely, yeah.
Right.
This is one I see on GeoGuessr all the time. I use it to really narrow down sometimes if I'm kind of confused whether or not am I in the east, am I in the west, am I in the southeast, or am I up north?
Right.
If I see sweet gum, I'm almost certain I'm somewhere in the southeastern US. It's a
Should we click on
great
this
plant
one to see
filter.
what the plant actually looks
Yeah,
like? Or yeah, so
go
this is the
for it.
kind of thing
Yeah.
you can do. Open it up. So this was a sighting in France, I guess, but
Yeah, it works just the same. Yeah, this is an example of their leaves. This is what I look for is like they have these very unique star-shaped leaves that really stand out. And no other trees, like especially in its range, really look like that. There's a
right.
few sycamore species that have a similar star-shaped leaf, but they don't grow on the side of the road typically like you would find sweet gums and stuff. So
Right. So
you see it a lot on GeoGuessr.
it kind of looks like a maple leaf in a way, but clearly it's not because it's not stretching into Canada like that. So,
Exactly, yeah. Similar to maples. Do you want me to explain a little bit more about what you can do on iNaturalist?
yeah. Because no doubt we'll run into this and lots of other species when we head into the game in a minute.
Absolutely. So, one thing that I do a lot, say like if I encounter a plant that I'm not sure, if I see something in GeoGuessr and I really want to know what it is, one thing you can do in iNaturalist is you can create a bounding box. Basically to create a box just around a particular area you're interested in,
Where should
and
I
you
go
can
in for an
see.
example?
Oh, sure. Zoom in like on Houston, for
Yeah, let's go
example.
Houston. Okay.
And on your search bar, you can clear sweet gum by pressing that X
Yeah,
on the right.
which is that. Okay, and then we'll
Boom, right there.
click
Yeah, you
draw a
can click
boundary in Houston, shall we?
exactly.
Okay.
So draw a boundary around Houston. Right now it's showing you all observations of every species, but if you wanted to just look at plants, you could type in plants in the species search bar,
But they're
and it'll narrow that down.
500,000 within Houston. What the heck?
Yeah.
Wait, is it really
That's a-
popular there, or is like that's somehow just a really an area where
There's
people
just
love it?
there's just that many observations.
No
Crazy,
way.
yeah.
Okay. Okay. So what were you asking for? Sorry.
Type in plants, and that will narrow it down to just
Oh,
plants.
cool. So let's click on that. Nice.
Boom, yeah, 262,000 observations of
That's
plants.
crazy, man.
But something I do a lot is I'll click if you click the species tab,
Oh yeah. Oh,
it will
cool.
sort it will sort by the plants with the most observations. And so a lot of these things will be the kind of things you'll see when you're playing GeoGuessr, and
Definitely.
because they end up being submitted the most. Um, Great one that I look for, say like if I'm suspecting I might be in Houston or something like that is see on the left there, southern live oak.
True. I've seen these ones.
Yes, yeah, they are a staple of the Gulf coastal plain.
Yeah.
There we go. Great example. You can see the range
Mm,
map right here.
mm.
And often, especially in Florida, you'll see they're covered in Spanish moss, which up on that photo on the top, you can actually see the Spanish moss in the branches.
Yeah,
But
that's I've definitely known this for Florida. Yeah, when I see trees like that, I'm normally just clicking Florida, I think.
yep,
Yeah.
yeah, you get Spanish moss in Texas too, but
Right.
Florida especially is all over the place.
Right.
But yeah, this is a good example of like a way you can use iNaturalist to kind of like identify species that you might see while you're playing but don't know the name of. You could learn more about it, and you can also see where else it can be found. And this knowledge is just extremely powerful when playing GeoGuessr.
Fascinating that it really only shows up in the US.
Yeah, like for southern live oak, that's a good point. There are other species of live oaks out there. You get a lot of them in California too, but they're different species.
Right, right, right.
But I think live oak just refers to the fact that even in the wintertime, they'll typically retain their leaves. They're
Right.
evergreens.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So actually a lot of I guess yeah, a lot of oaks are deciduous, aren't they?
Yes. Yeah. A lot of them are.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. So I feel like that gives like a good explanation. We're gonna make another video on the main channel where we kind of go in more in depth and show more maps. But today we'll probably still tab out into here a few times, but we'll just kind of head into a game here and have some explanations. So I will share screen with you, which I realized I forgot to do. Oh no, I am sharing. And let me also see that the levels are working right here. Okay. Looks good. So now let's head into some US. We'll just play moving at first, and then we might go some no moving panning or zooming or something like that as we head
Sounds
in
good.
a bit further.
Let's do it.
Let's do it indeed. So let's see what we get here. We got cornfields and flat. I feel like this is
What a great way to
just send
start.
this one in, can't we?
If you want to, you can move over to some of those trees in the distance, and we
True.
looking at.
True. I feel like before we find out anything, I would just go here. But we'll see. We'll see if anything can change our mind here, won't we, Phil?
Yeah, let's see, because we might see something that could help us out, but for the most part, I'm still what
Okay.
plants to look for in the corn region.
Okay, so here we go. Oh,
Yeah.
is this the it's not the same plant we were looking at before, I'm assuming.
Sweet gum? Nah, I think this is a type of maple, I believe. Looking at
Okay.
those leaves there.
Yeah, because I thought it was a similar shaped leaf, yeah, so
Yeah. So you were close, but yeah, that might be silver maple. Could be wrong about that. But pretty wide range across the Midwest, Northeast.
Midwest Northeast kind of plant, okay.
Yeah.
And I guess that kind of would make sense for a maple, right? Yeah, it's
sure would.
definitely a colder climate tree as opposed to.
Yeah, they love cool, moist climates. But yeah, I'm still learning a lot of my deciduous trees, especially in this part of the country.
Right.
But very often you'll find cottonwoods, you'll find sycamores, maple, you'll find willows and stuff like that.
I think I
A
can
lot of those
identify a
species-
willow. The others of those, I'm not confident that I could have a mental picture for even.
Oh yeah, if we see, I'll definitely point out cottonwood. If we see cottonwood, it's one I see all the time in the Great Plains, especially.
I'm actually kind of curious just to hop on over to this and just type in corn and see what happens.
Oh yeah, go for it. Let's see
Maze.
what comes up.
So that is the range here, but this is not particularly helpful. I feel like. Do we? I mean.
Yeah,
it's-
you could try to turn on I guess
Yeah.
like the verifiable setting
Yeah, let's go here.
in the filters. You could turn that off and see what happens there, but it might not be the best.
I guess
for-
people aren't really just going around. Yeah, documenting
and taking
all the corn.
photos of cornfields. That's a good point.
Yeah. So there are some
people are, but not
limitations to
many.
the user-generated content side of things here, I guess.
Yeah.
All right, should we send
Looks
out
like a
an
lot
I
of-
guess here maybe?
Yeah, sounds good.
I think the road reminded me of this area maybe. Yeah, nice.
Nice. That's a good
Okay.
guess.
So, next one
Oh, I
here. We got
love
some
this.
trees. Let's go.
Oh, this is awesome. Yeah, we're in the woods now. Look at that.
Ooh.
That's a straight up. That's definitely a maple.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I thought that looks like maple again. Oh, we
Could
got a,
you
is
zoom in
that
on?
spruce?
It is a spruce.
Nice, nice.
Yeah, we got spruce, which
And a
is very
pine
helpful.
as
Oh,
well.
there we go.
Yeah,
That's actually one of my favorite trees. That pine right there. If
let's
you want
check
to
it
take a closer
out.
look at that.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay, so here we
this
are
is
underneath it.
Eastern white pine,
Eastern white
which
pine.
Eastern white pine, yeah, and actually I use Eastern white pine a lot in GeoGuessr.
Mm-hmm.
It's everywhere in the Northeast and the Midwest.
Mm.
But you won't find this particular species out west. So if I'm like on the fence about whether I'm the East or Western US,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes the Eastern white pine will be the thing that I look for to help
Mm.
me out.
Mm.
But on iNaturalist, I guess maybe you can look at it later.
Mm-hmm.
You won't find this species at all in like the Gulf Coastal Plain or like
Right.
the southeastern US, south of a certain point. Say like south of Tennessee, you really don't see it very often.
Mm.
So it
Sure.
kind of helps narrow down like a particular quadrant
Mm. Yeah,
of
definitely.
the United States.
Okay, I have a
But
question. I have an important
yeah,
question. This is actually one I was wondering even before I knew I'd be making a video with you today. And that is that, like, everyone talks about southern pines, and I know what southern pines look like, but I came to a point in the video
yeah,
yesterday where I was trying to describe what makes a southern pine different, and I realized I couldn't really do it. I know, like, the branches are more so
right.
towards the top, but that's all. Like, I don't really can't describe it beyond that.
Yes, that's a great question. Actually, it's taken me years of living in the southeastern US to kind of like tell it apart. But actually, if I could describe it in just a few sentences,
Hmm.
um, the southern pines, you kind of like you said, like they tend to have a lot of their leaves kind of like situated towards the top of the tree.
Hmm.
Um, Also, their branching structure is more kind of like random and and unorganized. One thing
Mm.
you'll notice about the eastern white pine here is that it has what botanists would call a whorled branching structure.
Hmm.
That's WHORLED.
Mm.
Basically means that the branches are radiating outward from the trunk at the same
Yeah,
points.
yeah, I see
So
that.
so
Even on
it's
this
got
like little branch here, you can see the twigs kind of doing that. I think. Yeah.
exactly, it's more
Mm.
symmetrical,
Yeah.
right? It kind of gives it more of like a symmetrical look,
Mm.
and that's something that you kind of it's hard to describe in words, but a lot of people playing GeoGuessr might just pick up on that subconsciously
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
say,
Yeah.
this has a northern pine kind of vibe. But like the branching structure is one. Another thing about eastern white pine is that it has that's that eastern white pine in the distance down the road a little bit is a great example.
Which way down
You
the
see
road?
how its branches are extending horizontally outward.
Oh, this one
Yeah,
here.
that one right there. You see
Yeah.
that? That is a thing that's very typical and diagnostic of eastern white pine, but not
Right.
necessarily the southern pines. Yes, you can see it all the way down the road with these
Yeah.
horizontal branches sticking
Yeah.
outward.
Okay, that's really interesting. Never
Yeah,
really
it's like,
noticed that before.
oh yeah, it's a great way to tell, and actually also have cones on it. Which
Hmm.
if you want to, yeah, get, let's see, does it have cones? I don't really see any actually.
Yeah. I
If
don't
it
see any
did though,
specifically. Yeah.
if it did, they have these narrow cones that dangle down from like the tips of the branches.
Mm-hmm.
The southern pines have more round cones.
Right. Hmm.
So in a pinch that can be helpful, but I'm usually able to tell just by looking at
Yeah.
the
I
overall
mean,
shape and like,
actually, what you're saying about the branches really resonates. I definitely like. I never would have thought to say it like that, but the southern ones definitely kind of look a bit more straggly or something like that. I don't know what the word
that's a
is,
good
but
word. Yeah,
yeah,
scraggly is a good word because
yeah.
like, and I'm trying to think if there's other things I look at. Eastern white pine also tend to have more of a bluish hue to their needles.
Mm-hmm.
That actually is something that in certain circumstances, like it kind of varies, but
Mm.
I definitely use
Mm-hmm.
sometimes because like the southern pines tend to have like a more dark green kind of glossy
Right.
appearance to their needles,
Right.
whereas eastern white pine have like a nice cool bluish green color. I like it a lot.
Yeah, yeah, no, they're pretty trees for sure. So, with this kind of combination, so we had spruces, we had maples, and we had now what are they called? No, what are they called?
The eastern
The
white
blue
pine.
eastern white pine. That's it. Yeah. So with those
Yeah.
three, where are you thinking here?
Well, I'm thinking this is a pretty typical eastern deciduous forest
Hmm.
with some conifers in the mix.
Yeah.
Um, so this could actually be like a lot.
Yeah, I guess the
Um,
Appalachians with the elevation differences makes it kind of harder, doesn't it?
yeah, I almost think this could be kind of like the northern Appalachian, maybe even around like Ohio, Pennsylvania, that kind of area
This kind of thing here,
is,
maybe.
is what I'm thinking.
I like that guess, I think.
Potentially New England.
Mm.
Um, that's also possible. Like Washington, not Washington. I'm sorry. Not Washington. Definitely Massachusetts,
Nope.
Maine. Yeah, don't go Washington. Uh, it's not impossible that it could be Massachusetts or like New
Yeah.
Hampshire
This
or
is a hard
something.
round for me. I don't really know where I'd send it myself, but the the combination of a lot of cold trees makes me think that actually, and also this kind of dark as well. I feel like Maine is actually well
Maine
possible.
is not
Yeah.
a bad. That actually crossed my
Yeah.
mind too.
Yeah.
Um, But yeah, if we spent more time looking, we might find a few more clues. I see like a lot of ferns down there, kind of in front of that spruce tree.
Right. Yeah. True. A lot of ferns. Yeah. That also feels quite. It feels quite northern, but it also feels quite like kind of like near a mountain kind of vibe. So I'm not really sure what it could mean. Multiple things. I feel. To
That's
me,
another
I don't
thing I
know.
look for.
Yeah.
Yeah, another thing I look for is I'll look in the distance, like the giant mountains or stuff like
Yeah.
that. I'll use the landscape
Yeah.
as like a hint. I don't see any like giant mountains or anything, but it's kind of hard because we are like in like a forest basically, so we can't see very
Right.
far.
Right. No,
And like
let's send the guess in. I do feel like it's
yeah,
like this region, or I would say like New Hampshire, Maine. That's kind of I don't know why I'm between those
same
two
here.
regions, but
Let's see if we
yeah,
get lucky.
we'll see.
Maybe
Let's
we
see
got it
here.
here.
Oh yeah, it was Maine. Okay, that
It
makes
was
sense.
made. Okay, I
That
can
kind
see
of
that for
darker
sure.
dirt. I feel like yeah. I feel like yeah, the ferns as well makes sense. Okay, I
Ooh,
immediately have a thought here, but let's have a look around and see what you think.
sure. So, what I'm
Oh
thinking
yeah,
looking
look at
at
this.
this,
Yeah.
oh yeah, this is a great example. Okay, so I'm thinking Western US for sure.
Mm-hmm. Hella ferns. Yeah.
And we got, yeah, hella ferns, we got conifers for days. And actually, if you look to your right again,
Mm-hmm.
I saw one tree in particular that caught my attention. That one right there, the tall one.
Mm-hmm.
This one, I could be wrong, but I think that could be lodgepole pine,
Mm-hmm.
which is a species of pine that you find in like the northern Rocky Mountains and like I think the Cascades as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's one I learned recently actually. But
Mm.
I think they can be differentiated from ponderosa pine by I think like their needle length and also just like they have like a very kind of like narrow growing. Like they're pretty narrow. And also like I think their branches towards the top tend to like point upwards, which I think that's what we're seeing here.
Yeah. 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 Definitely.
So I'm thinking this is lodgepole,
Mm-hmm.
and
So a
so that would put
lot of
us
ground vegetation here.
yes, that too.
So I'm pretty confident I know like basically exactly where this is, so to speak. Um,
Awesome. I'd
but
love to hear it.
that is kind of like a more kind of like just knowing the coverage kind of thing. I mean
Yes.
vegetation too, but I'm kind of interested to see what you think like kind of this view here. What does that lead you to?
Great question. One thing I'll just notice is
Mm.
that it seems very moist.
Mm.
A lot of areas of the western US will have like more bare exposed ground,
Mm-hmm.
very rocky.
Yeah.
But it looks like even looking up the slope of that mountain over there, it just looks very, very moist. Looks like plants are covering every square inch of the ground.
Yeah. Basically. Yeah.
Um, and so because of that, that has me thinking, you know, perhaps we're closer to the Pacific Ocean.
Mm-hmm.
Also, look at all that fog
Yeah.
too.
Yeah. I think
That
that's
might be a
also a
hint right
clue.
there.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, like so, and again, I'm kind of still learning a lot about my northwestern plants, but I'll be almost tempted to go like Oregon or Washington here.
Uh-huh, uh-huh, uh-huh. Yeah, so I am relatively confident, though I could be wrong. So like I'm not 100%. So I'm interested to hear what you say when I say this. But I'm relatively confident this is actually Alaska. How do you feel about that?
Ooh, now that hadn't crossed my mind. Yeah,
Mm,
Alaska is one of those things that I'll tend to forget about when I'm playing
right.
GeoGuessr. But
Right.
no, that's certainly, I think that's definitely plausible. I don't, yeah, there's something that I will look for. If I think I might be in Alaska, I'll look on the side of the road for a plant called fireweed.
Yeah. Yeah. I saw that in your
Which
video. Yeah.
yeah, no, like I know that fireweed's everywhere in Alaska, especially in roadsides, but
Right.
I guess
We don't
the
have any
thing about
here.
that is that
Yeah.
yeah, the image would have to be taken at the right time of year.
Right.
Um, and we'd have to, be lucky enough to see them, but I don't
Hmm.
see any fireweed
No, we
right
don't. We
now.
don't
But
have any.
that
We do have some
definitely did,
wildflowers, but
yeah. Oh yeah, look at that. That's very nice. I wish I knew more about my wildflowers, especially up north, but yeah, Alaska did not cross my mind until you mentioned it, so that's certainly possible. Hmm.
yeah. So one thing that makes me say that is the kind of lower quality coverage with this kind of like Generation 2 camera here is really common in
Right.
Alaska and really uncommon in the contiguous 50. I'm 48. But also what I have to say is like these trees out here, they kind of remind me of like South Chile, South Argentina. They're really like straggly as well, not very healthy looking. So I feel like these plus the camera, I would be very happy to go Alaska here.
That is a great point, and it's actually got me very curious as to what those trees are that we're
Yeah,
looking at.
we can probably get a bit closer here. Kind of. Any ideas? I mean, they kind of they're pines, aren't they? Some kind. Conifers
Yeah,
at
I think
least.
so. Actually, I think I might even see lichen dangling from the branches of that one on the right. You see that light green
Yeah,
stuff?
yeah.
I think that might be what's called usnea.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right.
Mm-hmm.
Usnea lichen. And you see a lot of that in the Pacific Northwest, probably getting in Alaska as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But that's neat. I don't think I've ever seen that in GeoGuessr yet.
Right, right. That's cool. And so yeah, it's more of a northern or cold climate thing, you'd say.
For sure.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
But
Oh,
yeah,
we have some more
whether or
here.
not,
I think. Yeah,
oh, great example of the
yeah,
moss as well, or the
yeah,
lichen. Yeah.
yeah. Okay,
The only
so.
the only thing I can say for sure
Mhm.
is we're somewhere in either Alaska or the Pacific Northwest.
Okay,
That's
okay.
all I got.
Let's test my theory. I mean, okay, if I was wrong, then I would expect maybe like somewhere around here or in the
Yes,
mountains here or
definitely.
something like that. But I mean, yeah, it definitely is Rockies. I'm pretty good on Alaska. Like the camera quality really is just quite a giveaway here. It's not 100%, but it's just so much more likely there.
That is
And
really
now
cool.
I would say, just trying to think here. It kind of looks like the road to McCarthy, I think. Or it's just, yeah, I would think I would guess there. I think it's not too far from, or it's just something around here, I think. Actually, maybe this is more likely, because it's paved. So I'm not really sure if this is what kind of camera was covered with these roads. So I'll try this one, because I know it's a Generation 2 road, but yeah, we'll give that a go. But yeah, I do think
Let's give it a
Alaska here.
go.
See it. Oh, that makes sense. Yeah,
Nice.
that makes sense.
It
So
was Alaska. Good stuff.
I forgot that like some of these ones actually got covered a little bit. So that makes a
Yeah.
lot of sense to me, to be honest. But yeah,
Yeah,
kind
I
of
don't think I've
actually halfway between what we were thinking, really.
exactly. Yeah, it was like right in the middle there.
Mm,
So we were definitely on the right track just
mm.
from looking at the plants. But yeah, I'd never gotten anything that far away from Anchorage before
Right,
on
right.
GeoGuessr yet. So that's very interesting.
Well, actually, they have coverage all the way to Prudhoe Bay, and it kind of just stays in the eastern half of Alaska. Quite a
Oh,
bit
that's
around
so awesome.
Fairbanks, but and Yukon has a lot as well. But you do get a little bit around Juneau and like and Haines, and there's tiny bit here as well. So there you go.
Very cool. That was a fun one.
Definitely. Okay.
Oh, this is interesting.
So I'm gonna look away from the infrastructure here. I feel like the number plates and stuff would be too helpful. Let's take a look at
Right.
these trees. Do you think
Yeah. So
when it's winter it's a bit harder maybe to
yeah, I will
work
say
out?
that one of the reasons why I love looking at evergreens and like conifers is that
Mm,
you can count on them to look the same pretty much year round.
right.
So in a situation like this where it's a winter shot, it's a little bit tougher for
Should be
me at
moving.
least to
Maybe.
kind of to differentiate species. But one thing that we know for sure is that we are in a place where it gets cold, so it rules out the
Sure.
entire like like the deep south, like Florida, we can rule that out. We can rule South Texas out. The Gulf Coastal Plain, we can pretty much rule all that out as well.
Yeah.
It's definitely
Ooh, look at this
somewhere. Oh, it
moss.
looks like looks pretty swampy too, which is interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting. I actually don't know. I don't have a good idea where this one is, to be honest.
Yeah, let me just zoom in on
Yeah,
some of
let's
those
take a look.
trees again, because like
Oh, look at
I'm
this.
seeing. So that looks like an oak species of some kind, and I can kind of make out like what I think botanists would call linear leaves, which are they seem kind of kind of pointed, but I might be wrong about that. But
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
almost certain that could be either water oak, willow oak,
Oh, yeah.
which are two species of oaks that grow in the southeastern U.S.
Okay.
I'm definitely getting, just by looking at, yeah, these here, southeastern U.S. kind of vibes.
Hmm.
I don't think we're that far north.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't really sure at all, but I guess the presence of the snow was making me think it might be a bit further north. But yeah, I mean, I can
Ah,
definitely.
true,
No,
true.
but
The
I can definitely
snow
see what
snow's
you're
a good.
saying. I feel like now that I'm thinking of it, the vegetation is kind of looking a bit further south. What about this moss? Does it give you anything or not really? You think?
That's a great question. Yeah, like all that lichen.
Mm.
Oh, and some moss in there too.
Mm.
I guess what it tells me is that we're in a very moist climate.
So that's the lichen, that's the moss. I see. I see.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. Wherever we are, it's quite moist. Yeah, zoom in on some of those trees in the distance there on the left.
Oh yeah, these ones. Yeah, sure. Oh yeah, bigger, thicker branches. I mean, thicker trunks. Yeah.
Are those pines? Let's see. Looks
Yeah.
like rather sickly pines, maybe. I'm not sure.
Yeah, because they would normally they would be retaining their leaves, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of
Not really
interesting.
sure.
Hmm.
Also, just looking at the landscape, it's very flat. I don't
Hmm.
see any big tall mountains yet.
I have to say, like, just from my own architecture knowledge, this house definitely seems more like a southern house. So I have to
That's
say,
a good
like, I like
observation.
that idea, or at least like it doesn't feel like a northeastern house. I could say that. Oh, we
Definitely
switch
not.
seasons here. Maybe this is our savior.
Hey, season change. That's good.
Okay, what do we got?
Man, this is kind of tough.
Hmm.
We're pretty far from the leaves. It's kind of hard to tell from this far.
Yeah.
But the leaves look fairly small.
Let's go for a couple more trees over here. Oh no.
We
Okay,
switched
maybe this
back.
tree is maybe this tree is useful, huh?
Let's see. Oh yeah, look at this. So
That's
looks
an
like
oak.
another. Yeah. Wait a second. That might be sweet gum. Hold on. Zoom
Ooh.
in on the right side of it. You see those? It almost looks like it has
Yeah, a bit of a star
the
shape here or
seeds
something.
star shape, and
Yeah.
also the seed structures. I forget what they're called on sweet gum, but they're like these spiky circular things that
Mm.
hurt really bad to step on. Actually,
Right.
now that you mention it, I see the star shape too. I think we're looking at sweet gum here.
Okay, cool. I didn't realize the leaves would be so small on it. Okay.
Yeah, we're also. Yeah, I think it'll depend on growing conditions. Sometimes
Right.
they're larger
Sure.
if they're
Sure.
like growing in like the forest understory, for example.
Okay, so all this in mind, which states are you thinking of?
This one's pretty tough, but like just looking at this, like I'm almost getting, especially considering how flat it is. Like I'm almost wondering if this is like the Mississippi alluvial plain. So
Mm.
somewhere near the Mississippi River, but maybe yeah, maybe like Arkansas or southeastern Missouri is kind of
Mm.
the hunch I'm having here.
Okay, that's interesting. So my vibe was similar actually. So I kind of thought it looked a little like Texas, but not. And I knew it's not Texas because we have no
Right.
front plates. So my idea was maybe more like Oklahoma, Arkansas border here. But then I could
Oh, I like
really,
that.
I mean, just from my vibes, I could really have seen it being anywhere like Kentucky, Tennessee, like flat Kentucky, Tennessee, or flat. I don't know. Yeah, maybe we'd see more pines here. So yeah, maybe like this kind of area here, over to
Yeah, the lack of
Oklahoma.
pine trees is definitely noticeable, which is something you'll tend to see in like floodplains. Is like you start to see less pine trees and more of the
Mm.
deciduous trees. Something I should point out.
Yeah, interesting. So yeah, I think we should go for your guess here. I like it, but yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, I cast my net very wide anyway, so
yeah, me too. Let's see.
yeah,
My
let's
fingers
find
are
out.
crossed here.
Let's see. Ooh, nice guess. Let's
Let's
go.
go, dude.
Excellent, dude.
Man, dude, I'm so happy to see that because I was a little scared, but I was
That's fire.
definitely getting that kind of Mississippi floodplain vibe, and
And
the
so, yeah,
sweet
sorry.
gum helped a lot too.
So you'd say actually along the Mississippi River, we're going to see less pines as a rule of thumb. Is that true?
As a rule of thumb, yes,
Okay.
they'll still be planted, but
Mm-hmm.
naturally, one thing I'll say is that naturally before a lot of that land was cultivated,
Mm-hmm.
um, the ecosystem that occurred in this area was called bottomland hardwood forest.
Mm.
And there were, as far as I know, no pines at all for the most part in
Right.
this entire region. It was all bottomland hardwood forest, including things like sweet gum, cypress, water oak, things like that. A lot of sweet gum, a lot of oaks.
Whereas when you would head over here to this kind of forested region, there's plenty of pines again, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Especially when you get into the upland.
Yeah.
Tons of pine trees. Absolutely.
Like I would have said around Shreveport. I've definitely
Oh
like
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they actually there's maybe we'll come across this plant later.
Mm-hmm.
There's one I look for a lot in GeoGuessr called the pine.
Oh, you cut out.
Which
Sorry, what
is
was it called?
oh sorry, there's this plant that hopefully we'll run into later that
Mm-hmm.
I use in GeoGuessr a lot called the loblolly pine.
Okay.
And it is so ubiquitous in the southeast that you can always count on it being somewhere in the frame wherever
Mm. Okay,
so I
nice.
use I use that a lot to kind of narrow down things as well.
Nice, nice, nice. And the thing is, this I like honestly. Okay, I think this is maybe Florida, just off the bat.
Ooh, this is a good one.
But I was gonna say, like the South and the North, or especially around the Appalachians, still to the best players causes major problems. I think so. Some of these clues, I think, are actually low key going to be very used at some point in the future. I feel.
That's
Okay,
awesome. Yeah. Oh yeah,
this.
this is a
Oh, that's a hill. So it's.
oh,
Ooh.
this is interesting. Okay, so you said Florida, right?
I still think it's Florida, but what's that hill doing? I guess it can't be.
So yeah, that's a
Wait, that
great
might be
point because
man-made. I think that might be man-made. I'm so thinking this is still Florida, you know? That's
wow,
a
this
Georgia plate, I think, right? Or is it
is it
Floridian?
actually?
One of the two. It's the
Now
peach.
this is extremely interesting. So,
Mm.
I mean, yeah, just the overall vibe, looking at palms and
Yeah.
this, it looks like Florida.
Is this called silverweed? What's it called?
Great question. That the grass there.
Yeah.
I don't know off the top of my head. That'd be a good one to try to figure.
Because that really shows up in a bunch of places and could be quite useful. For
Yeah,
example, in Japan, it's quite useful for different regions and stuff. But yeah.
that's a great point. I've definitely seen it before. But yeah,
Mm.
like, oh yeah, so right away we see the palm.
Yeah.
So that by itself like rules out such a huge part of the United States.
Yeah.
Also, you see those look like fan palm, the really tall,
Mm.
skinny ones.
Mm.
Um, so that's interesting because
Mm.
I don't typically associate those with Florida. I usually
Right.
associate those with California, Arizona, but you can see them. You can grow them in Florida as well.
I'm
So,
sure it's not the other two states though. So
oh yeah, for
yeah,
sure.
yeah,
Let's get a closer look at like
yeah.
those
Which way should we go?
pine looking trees. Like,
To
yeah, I
this
see
direction?
some of the taller stuff. Yeah, yeah.
And we can
What's
also get a
going
better look
on
at those
there?
hills as well because I'm curious about them.
Yeah, me too.
Okay. Oh yeah, look at that.
Look at that.
Oh,
Now,
these are coastal pines. I don't, we just like call them like these
yeah.
ones here. We just like call them coastal pines, but I don't really know what they're actually known
Yeah, I
as.
think I might be mistaken, but I believe those might be I think some in the States call Australian pines.
Really? I mean, we do have
Yeah.
them here, but
Yeah. I might be
that's
wrong about
interesting.
that, but these are definitely not native. I can tell you that
Okay,
much.
okay, yeah, that makes sense to me. Yeah.
So, especially if this is Florida, that this is those are not native.
I found them like
Interesting.
all over like Thailand, Indonesia, Malaysia a bit as well. I think you see them there quite a lot. Maybe
That's
just a similar
fascinating.
species, but yeah.
Yeah, I typically associate it with like coastal areas, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, is that like a landfill over
I
there?
think it's a landfill. I'm so confident with Florida that I'm just trying to make sense of what this hill is doing here.
I know,
No,
yeah,
it
yeah, that
is.
has
It's
to be
like
a landfill.
it's like maybe like just to nah. I don't know. I don't know.
It looks like a landfill to me because I
Yeah.
so much of what we're seeing here just really strikes me as Florida. Because I think if you yeah, go a little bit closer to that landfill because I see some trees over there
All right. Let's go.
that also catch my attention.
Ooh, that's green.
Yeah, go a little closer. Yeah, look at those
These
trees,
ones
those
here.
taller ones on your left.
So,
Oh yes. Okay, so
awesome.
these are cypresses.
This one, these two here.
Yeah, actually, I think all three of them,
Oh,
and I
this one has
think
like
they're
pods as well. That's interesting.
yeah, they are called pond cypress.
Mm,
And even though they're called cypress, they're not related or closely related to other trees which are called cypresses. So
right,
it's a little confusing.
right. Because they
But
do look quite dissimilar.
yeah, and actually seeing these trees makes me extremely confident that we're in,
Yeah,
because pond cypress is like a staple of the Florida, especially peninsular Florida landscape.
yeah. Yeah, I was thinking like at first I thought maybe Panhandle, but with this many palms and everything, I was
Oh yeah,
very
this
confident
is
on South.
gotta be in the peninsula somewhere.
I was thinking maybe I was thinking south of Orlando. That was my call here. I think.
I think that's a safe bet for sure. I'm wondering if it's like, let's see if there's anything else we can use as a clue. But yeah, yeah, like all of that around Lake Okeechobee, I think that's totally plausible.
Nice. We're going north to south here. I don't really know if it's probably just like one of these highways on the outside of the city. To be honest, let's go
That
there.
could be too.
Oh, nice. Got the road.
Oh, beautiful.
So easy, man.
Amazing guess. Great stuff.
Dude, that was a very interesting one to have a hill in, right? What was that actually
No,
going on
honestly,
here?
I'm not
Water
gonna lie to you.
catchment.
When I saw the hill,
Yeah.
like the landfill, like my mind jumped to Hawaii because I was
Right.
like, wait, if we're seeing tropical plants and like a hill, it has to be Hawaii, right? But
Right. Right.
nah, that was just a really tricky landfill. Just trying to
Yeah.
throw us off there.
Yeah, definitely.
That was an amazing
I've had that
guess.
once before in Florida with like a big, some kind of landfill, and it wasn't there definitely, but somewhere similar. And yeah, that definitely threw me for a loop for sure. Ooh,
That was a fun one.
yeah, that was a good
Oh, look
round.
at
So much unique vegetation as well.
oh yeah.
Okay, before I look around, I'm trying to work out what I think the vibe off the vegetation is here. I'm
Ooh,
like,
I'll tell you what I'm
it's
thinking.
well, yeah. Let's see your foot. Let's see your foot.
So this is very clearly rather arid, right?
Yeah.
Like side of the road is just brown. There's a lot of like exposed soil.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, I these plants, these light blue green plants that you see on the right and the left. I think I figured out what that plant was the other day, but I unfortunately I don't remember it off the top of my head. But it's a kind of plant that you see very often growing on the sides of the road out west.
Mm.
Thinking like California, you know, Nevada, Utah, that kind of area.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Also, just right off the bat, the mountains in the distance look very jagged
Yeah.
and also devoid of vegetation,
Right. Yeah, that's for
which
sure.
is
So that kind of reminds me of almost like definitely a Western vibe. That's for sure. Pretty far west.
100%.
Yeah. But a lot of crop here as well. Is it wheat or something maybe? Yeah.
That could be, yeah, I'm not sure.
Interesting. So I don't know if that's really much of a actual clue, but the poles here are very tall. Like this is a tall tree that it's come from, right? It's like an
Yeah,
extra 5
that's a good
meters
point.
almost than what you'd expect or something, or at least a couple
That's a
extra
good
meters.
point. Yeah, yeah, they're very tall. And actually, could you get a little closer to those? I see some colorful flowers, it looks like, behind that pole. Yeah, could you get closer to that?
Oh yeah, these ones, sure.
Yeah, let's see it.
Ooh, is this
Oh,
an
very
Australian plant?
beautiful. I think this is oleander.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I don't. I didn't just know we have them at my house. I don't know if they're actually
Yeah,
Australian. Where are they from?
I think they're, I might be wrong, but I think they're around the Mediterranean
Okay,
area,
yeah, yeah.
Mediterranean Sea.
I know
I
they're
think all these
poisonous,
might be
these
from.
ones.
Yes, yeah, very
Yeah.
much so. But yeah, like when I see oleander, I know that we're a place that doesn't get frequent freezes because they do not like freezes.
So that actually that's quite useful here because I would assume that like for example like the north half of Nevada would freeze, right?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
definitely,
And maybe even the south
definitely.
half. So maybe this is making us quite southern, right? I don't know.
Yeah, like seeing oleander makes me think that we gotta be like somewhere south of Vegas,
Okay.
Vegas and
Yeah.
south.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's actually like if you start to learn a few species that can't resist freezing, you can start to like draw some mental lines in your head right on the map, right?
Absolutely, I use that all the time. Yes, especially with tropical plants.
Yeah. So that is interesting indeed. So I was going to say about the really tall wooden poles. Like famously in Mexico, if you ever see a really tall wooden pole, you're like in Mexicali basically. So I
Oh,
do
cool.
wonder about South California, Arizona, Las Vegas area. I mean, obviously you've been kind of hinting at that as well. So
Yes,
that would be kind of my thought here, I guess.
I
Maybe
would
maybe
agree
on
with
the
that.
Arizona side, I think for me, but or the Vegas side, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that makes a lot of sense, especially taking into account the mountains again, they're extremely bare. That's the kind of thing I would associate with that region. It's very hot and dry, not a whole lot of stuff growing. Looks like in the distance there, if you zoom in on some of those shrubs,
Can maybe get over to them. Doesn't seem
yeah,
like that was covered.
these look like mesquite species to me.
Oh yeah. So what would you say about those?
They are pretty widespread in the desert Southwest as well as Texas. So seeing them like that is just to me more evidence that we're kind of in that region we were already suspecting we were in.
Right.
But I just wanted to point them out. There
Yeah.
could be some other species in there as well.
Right. I feel like this is like ones that are maybe more useful for you than for us, unless there's
Right.
like some way to distinguish it from other bushes easily.
And I think there could be unfortunately those a little bit, but
You say a
yeah,
little bit
they're
far away.
definitely yeah, just a
Yeah.
tad.
Yeah.
If they're a little closer, we might be able to switch. I think I see a few on some of the ones in the foreground.
Is this the same
But
plant? Maybe it's a bit
oh
bigger.
yeah, let's see what this is.
There we go.
Oh yeah, there we go. Great example. Definitely mesquite. If I had to take a guess on the species, uh, it could be velvet mesquite, or I think there's also some species of mesquites that are not native to the U.S. but have been planted, like the Chilean mesquite. They're also extremely hardy, can handle heat and drought very well, so they're very popular in the landscape. But yeah, I can't say with absolute certainty what we're looking at here, but I'm gonna go velvet mesquite. I think I can see some flowers on the top left part of the plant. Yeah, zoom in on that. Yeah, you see like these little
Oh, the
yellow
yellow. Yeah,
yellow
it is
spikes.
flowers. Yeah.
Yes, that are great example of mesquite flowers there. But
Oh, cool.
yeah, maybe we can on iNaturalist after this look at velvet mesquite flowers,
Definitely.
see if that
But yeah, we'll
lines
pull it
up.
up after
Because
the round. So my idea, if I was clicking, I think I wanted to go like here or something, maybe.
yes,
I don't know if there's enough. There's probably not enough going on over there actually. Go here. That would be my idea. What do you think?
I think that is a great guess.
All right. I also like wanted to go a bit further west or near a big town because we have a lot of crops going on. It's actually significant. So I wouldn't even be surprised about it about a California. It is very
Yeah,
dry.
it's like it's extremely dry here. Yeah, but I think we got the general region down for sure.
Let's
Very
find out.
confident in that.
Ooh, nice. Even south of Phoenix there.
Oh, oh wow. Okay.
Oh, so
See,
much farming
I'm
here. I'm surprised actually.
oh wow, I'm a little surprised at that. Yeah, but that makes sense.
Mm, mm.
Usually when I think of that part of the Sahara Desert, you think about cacti,
Mm.
saguaro cacti.
Right, right, right.
But there weren't any cacti in our field of view. But
Not
if we had
one, yeah.
seen one, that would have been a great hint.
Mm. Why? There's a lot of farming going on here as well. and just here. So yeah, that makes sense. I mean, we're not that far from that kind of area. And we got the state, so there you go. That's something.
That's something, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, interesting around there. So should we look up that plant? What was it called again now?
Yes. Velvet mesquite. Check that one out. I think, especially given where our location was, I'm very confident that that's what it was. Oh, I
Yeah.
see it. It's like the 5th option down. Perfect.
Oh yeah. If we just
Yeah.
trusted that, then that's like a easy like click between Tucson and Phoenix, and you get a good score.
Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely. And if you
Nice.
look at some of the photos, you'll probably see flowers.
Right. And I imagine those cities are just red because of the number of people taking pictures. That would actually be all over
Oh
that
yes,
area, right? So
100%.
yeah. Do we see it here? Maybe not.
Oh yeah, you can tell just by the leaves
Oh
too.
yeah,
That's
here
definitely
we
what we're
have
looking
someone.
at.
Yeah, that's a yellow flower.
Yeah, that's exactly what we saw.
Yeah.
Velvet
Not many of
mesquite.
them there, but just a couple of flowers only. But yeah, nice. Very cool.
Very
So
cool
that
plant.
was around here. Yeah. So basically, yeah, you could say, yeah. I mean, even where we clicked was also having some, so not too bad.
Yes. Awesome.
Ooh. Oh, look at this.
Ooh.
We got the
Oh, let's go. We got
yeah,
Spanish moss.
we got Spanish moss. Okay, so this Phil was telling me before the video, I think. Was it before or yeah, it was before. That is mostly found in southern Texas and predominantly California. I mean, predominantly Florida.
Yes.
So let's see. Ooh, I can actually see both working here, to be honest. So I'm kind of curious to find out a bit more.
Oh, I love this one. This is a lot of fun.
Yeah, this is kind of near where you grew up. I'm feeling.
Yes.
So
I have a lot to talk about here.
this is an interesting pine. What can you say about this one?
So this is a great example because you mentioned southern pines before.
Mm,
This is a great example of what a southern pine looks like.
mm.
You see how the needles are, first of all, like kind of like clumped,
Yeah, a
at
bit
like the at
like
the ends of the
pom-pom shapes,
branches.
kind of.
Pom pom, there's the word.
Yeah.
Great way of putting it. They're pom pom shaped. They're dark green and glossy, and the branches are messy, kind of like as you said before,
Yeah,
not quite as organized and symmetrical
that's
as
for
the
sure.
eastern white pine.
Mm.
So, yeah, that's one thing I'll say.
Hmm.
Um, I guess it's kind of hard to tell apart species sometimes because there's several southern pines that look like that, but
Mm.
overall, judging by like the shape and maybe like the location, which if we look at some more plants around us, we might be able to narrow down, but
Okay, well,
depending
we
on
got
where we
stuff looking
decide we
here.
might be, that might be either slash pine or loblolly pine is my guess.
Hmm.
Ooh,
Oh,
okay, so
we have some of the now what's it called? Sugar
sweet gum.
sweet gums. That's
Yeah,
right.
you got it. Yeah, you see those star shaped?
Yeah,
Great example.
yeah.
Great example. Those star shaped leaves right there.
And sugar gums
Great.
are more so just east in the US, all over the east, right?
Yeah, especially the
More
southeast.
south,
They're a
yeah,
lot more
yeah.
common, especially like growing on the side of the road like this
Hmm.
with pines.
Oh yeah, with the
You'll see
pines,
that
yeah.
very commonly in the southeast. Another thing I want to point out is the tree with almost feather-like leaves right
Yep,
here.
yep. I knew you'd do something about
That
this.
Yeah, I do. You've probably seen this before. It's the Chinese silk tree.
Okay, yeah, we used
It
to have these
is
growing in my school when I was in primary school, yeah.
Yeah, they're like they're not native to the US, but they've been established and they're
Hmm.
very common, especially in the southeastern US, and you'll
Hmm.
often see them growing on the side of the road like that.
Mm.
And below
Cool.
that, I think that might be this was a little tougher, but I think that's a species of holly, if I had to guess.
Mm.
Could be wrong
It almost
there,
looked
not
like
too sure.
a bit like a juniper tree to me, but not quite, right? I don't know.
I think I see a juniper on the left if you
Oh,
zoom
maybe
out a
that's what I'm
bit and
thinking
look.
of. Oh, is
That
that
right
Oh, that
there.
is juniper, of course. Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
I don't know if maybe I subconsciously thought that. I don't know.
No, they're very
Yeah, I guess
no,
they
they're
do kind of
very
look similar.
similar in like their the color of the leaves and also just their general shape.
Hmm.
Also where they grow as well.
Okay.
But yeah, I think given that we're in the eastern US, we're probably looking at eastern red cedar,
Mm.
that juniper there.
Right.
And it is a juniper. It's in the same genus, but it just has a different name.
Right.
And
Interesting.
next to that
What
juniper,
about this stuff then?
I think right here is a great example of live oak. which
Okay.
if you notice they have like dark green glossy leaves, very small,
Yeah.
and also that tree we saw with the Spanish moss in it was also southern live
Right.
oak.
Yeah. Well, that's where you're most liable to find the Spanish moss, right? On a
Yes,
live
you'll
oak. Yeah.
exactly. You'll see it very often in live oaks. You also see them in.
In what? Sorry, you cut out on the last word there.
Oh, sorry. You'll also see them in cypress trees
Yeah,
very often
cypresses.
as
Okay.
well.
Interesting. So yeah, this kind of feels like a very hardy tree. I don't know. It doesn't look like it's using much moisture or something. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like the
Oh,
kind of smaller
100%.
leaves.
Actually,
Yeah.
you'll actually see live oaks. There's another species called the Texas live oak that you'll find in the hill country of Texas, even like west of Austin, where it gets pretty hot and dry
Mm.
often. So I think their small leaves are definitely an adaptation
Yeah.
to tolerate dry conditions.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's a great point.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
Yeah. So this is
oh
what we were
yeah,
talking
this
about at the start. Yeah.
yeah, I'll talk about Spanish moss real quick because it's one of my favorite plants. I
Yeah.
love
Yeah.
talking
Go.
about Spanish moss. But yeah, Spanish moss, and a lot of people might not know this, but it's actually related to the pineapple.
Oh
It's
wow. Word.
yeah, it's not moss, and it is actually what's called a bromeliad.
Mm.
And most bromeliads are epiphytes,
Mm-hmm.
which in botany just means a plant that grows on another plant
Mm.
without harming it.
Yeah.
But Spanish moss is a great example of an epiphytic plant. It
Mm.
basically grows on the limbs of trees, especially live oaks and cypress trees,
Mm-hmm.
among other trees.
Mm-hmm.
And it requires high humidity and relatively warm temperatures. They can handle some cold temperatures, but you won't typically find them in places that get frequent hard freezes.
Mm.
So seeing Spanish moss tells me that we're definitely in the deep south, either near on the Gulf coastal plain or in Florida, basically somewhere that's typically warm and humid throughout the year.
Mm. Very interesting round. So with this combination of all the trees and everything, my kind of thought was maybe Panhandle, Florida here, or maybe even like southern something over here. What are you kind of
Yes,
feeling here?
I like that Panhandle, Florida idea for a
Mm.
number of reasons. One thing
Mm-hmm.
I'll say is seeing eastern red cedar,
Mm-hmm.
that juniper we saw.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
I don't believe, I could be wrong here, but I don't believe you find that too far down the Florida peninsula.
Right. That's kind of what I thought. Like it kind of didn't feel quite tropical, yeah, or like all the way
Right.
tropical. We
Exactly.
have
This
some of
is
these though. Look at that. It's
yeah,
interesting.
I think that yeah, I'm not sure exactly which species of palm that is, but definitely seen it before. Also the Chinese silk tree
It's
right
more there.
there.
Yeah.
Um and again, one of those species that you'll find very often in like the coastal plain of the southeastern US, but not typically south of say Orlando. Same with
Okay.
sweet gum as well. Sweet
Okay.
gum is another species you won't typically find south of Tampa, Orlando, in the
Right.
Florida Peninsula,
Okay.
in my experience. So I can confidently say we're on the Gulf coastal plain, or perhaps the Atlantic coast
Mm-hmm.
as well. That's also a possibility, but
Mm-hmm.
we're not too far south the peninsula.
Right.
So we've narrowed down a nice little latitude band here of where we could be.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Definitely. Okay, so shall we send it in like this then? Anything last to say about
That
this round?
I think that's a solid choice. Yeah, just judging by the plants we see around us, yeah, Florida Panhandle,
I'm
can
feeling
definitely see
good.
that.
I'm feeling good. I'm actually gonna go a little. Nah, there's more stuff over here. I'm gonna stick there. Oh, even Georgia,
Oh,
even Georgia,
near
Savannah,
Savannah.
Georgia.
Okay. Yeah, that I can definitely see that as well.
That must
But
be
yeah,
like the furthest north I've seen the Spanish moss. I feel.
that's I'm glad you bring that up because if you go to iNaturalist
Yeah,
and
let's
you
check it
type in,
out.
yeah, iNaturalist will explain it better than I ever could. But you'll notice it
Okay,
has
it
a
does stretch. Yeah.
surprisingly long range up the Atlantic coast, and the reason for that is that the ocean, the proximity to the ocean, has like this effect of reducing hard freezes,
Right.
or how strong the hard freezes are. So you can find them in Virginia even, but that's probably about as far north as they naturally grow.
Fascinating. I mean, there is like seems to be. Well, what? How do you explain the ones like found in Michigan or something like that?
So those could be. Notice how it says casual under
Mm-hmm.
that observation
Yep.
there. That means it hasn't been verified.
Oh,
So
I
this could
see.
be an observation that was submitted, but basically it was never corrected or it
Right.
was never identified as something else.
Okay, so they're probably just other kinds of hanging. Yeah, I see. Yeah.
Yeah, if you go to the filters again, do we have oh yeah, verified is checked off. So if you check it back
Ah,
on,
there we
boom,
go.
it'll clear up a lot of those.
Even still, there's some
That's an
research grade.
interesting observation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious about that one. That might be like an established population or something.
Right. Very interesting. But okay, yeah, definitely. I mean, we were kind of clicking right in the center of where it could have been, but definitely more of a either coastal or Florida, or yeah, basically coastal or Florida, or like somewhere in the south. Interesting.
Absolutely. Such a cool plant.
Definitely.
One of my very favorites.
Back in the south, or maybe not. We'll see. Let's check out the
Yeah,
trees.
this one's interesting. So right away, I can tell this was taken in the spring.
Mm.
Very beautiful
Yeah,
spring green color
these
here.
trees. Yeah. So let's take a look. Maybe we got a familiar plant here, or not.
Oh, okay. So remember how I mentioned cottonwood earlier?
Yeah, I do remember that. You said it was one of the
I
ones
think
you use a lot, right?
it is, and
Mm.
actually, I think we're looking at eastern cottonwood right here. The taller tree right here with those larger leaves. Yeah, eastern cottonwood for sure.
Yeah. So what is distinguishable about the eastern cottonwood, Phil?
So the first thing I look at, the leaves themselves are like this, kind of almost heart shaped. Is
Yeah.
probably my best way of describing it, but they're like rather large heart shaped leaves.
Mm.
Another thing I'll say about eastern cottonwoods is they tend to have a very thick trunk with thick
Yeah.
branches.
Yeah. So I noticed immediately the thick trunk. It's way thicker than a lot of the other trees we've had today. So yeah.
Yes, they also grow extremely quickly, so you'll see um, eastern cottonwood like and especially in the Great Plains and stuff, just like gigantic eastern cottonwoods growing near the side of the road.
Right.
Also, they tend to like growing along creeks and watercourses, and
Yeah.
right here you can see it's growing right along the edge of this ditch here.
Mhm.
This
Mhm.
is another great hint.
Yep. Nice.
So eastern cottonwood tells me eastern U.S. for
Mhm.
sure.
Mhm.
But it does have a huge range, so it doesn't narrow things down very much.
I
So I
see.
would still keep looking, see if I find any more hints.
Which direction looks more enticing to you, Phil?
Let's go that way, yeah, where you're facing right now.
East. Ooh.
Oh, looks like we had a little imagery
Bit of
change
an
here.
update here. This is feeling very warm.
Yeah, it's like I want to see if we can find some conifers, some
Yep.
pine trees.
Your
That'd be
wishes
a
come
huge
true, I
help.
think.
Ooh, these are actually cypress,
Oh, never mind.
but it's a
It is a
different
conifer, though,
species.
right?
It is a
Yeah.
conifer, that's right. It's a different species from the one we saw earlier in Florida. I think
Mm.
these are bald cypress and they're planted here.
Mm.
They're also very common in the landscape.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, true. You can see these are planted for sure in the row. So what does that make you think in combination with the I forget what the other one's called. Long
Oh, the
gateway.
cottonwood, yeah.
Yeah, the cottonwood. That's
Well,
right.
one thing I'll say about both of those species is they're both water loving. They can tolerate having their feet wet,
Yeah.
in a sense.
Yeah.
And also the landscape around here, it just looks very flat.
Mm.
So I feel like we're either in like a coastal plain or in a river floodplain kind of
Mm.
environment.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see what. Oh, those pines. Those might actually be pines. We actually not that one. Actually, a little bit further up. Actually,
Oh yeah.
unless that's more cypress.
Maybe more
Oh, actually,
cypress.
that is more
Yeah.
cypress.
Yeah.
This is interesting.
So cypress is a bit shaggy, almost.
Yeah, great way of putting it. Like they'll often have like dangling, shaggy, kind of feather-like leaves. They're
Mm.
very
Mm.
very soft,
Yeah.
and also that light green color is very diagnostic of cypress as well.
Yeah. So let's see if we can find a single pine here at the intersection. Doesn't look like we're gonna find one, I think.
Yeah, this is interesting.
Mm.
It's looking like mostly cypress, which makes
Mm.
me think like could this be maybe Louisiana?
Ooh.
Like somewhere swampy.
Mm.
What are those flowers right there? Oh, looks like we had a season change,
Yeah,
but
we did. We can go back to
if
that
you,
road. It should be changing back.
yeah, if you,
Okay, so which ones were you meaning? These ones here?
or to your right in that yard right there. Oh,
These
sorry.
ones?
They're like red and pink, a little bit to the left. Keep going. It's like in that front yard, right? Keep going. Oh, that's a good one though. Crepe myrtle.
Oh,
That's what it is.
crepe myrtle. That's my mom's
Uh,
favorite flower, I think.
Oh, nice.
Or
Okay,
one of
so
them.
crepe myrtle is extremely popular in the southeastern U.S.
Right.
They don't they don't typically tolerate the northernmost climates of the US, like New England, Midwestern. So we can kind of cross that off the list. We're definitely in
Nice.
the southeast.
Nice.
So crepe myrtle's nice. Man, like I'm really getting like Louisiana vibes here
Ooh.
personally.
That's
And
funny
I can say that
because yeah. I wasn't for some reason. Not that I don't think it can't be there. Like I kind of suck at the South, so like it would not surprise me at all. But for some reason, I didn't get that vibe. What about this? What about this plant here?
Oh, that's another crepe myrtle.
It's
Yeah.
just a different color. Okay.
Yeah, they'll have a different color, different cultivars and stuff like that.
Mm. No, I'm trying not
But
to look at
yeah.
the number plates, so I don't give it away.
I'm kind of wondering, is that that crop on the other side of the road?
Let's see what this is, eh? Not
Hmm.
soybeans.
It's not soybeans. Fascinating. Yeah, I don't know what that is.
Hmm.
Still learning my crops, but
Sometimes I can get up at here. I'm not so sure. I think. Hmm.
and in the distance there, like that looks like it could be a patch of bottomland harvest, like I mentioned before.
Oh,
They,
what do you mean by that, sorry?
oh yeah, it's that type of environment that we saw in the Mississippi
Oh, yeah,
that I was talking about before.
yeah.
You'll often see it growing in patches among farm fields in
Right.
the alluvial plain, and that might be what we're looking at here.
Where is that? Sorry.
Um, somewhere near the Mississippi River
Oh no,
is
no,
my
no,
guess.
on the screen right now. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, where your cursor is, like just that giant patch of trees.
Yeah, yeah, sure, yeah.
Yeah, it looks like a big old
Flora.
patch of bottomland hardwood forest, kind of like in a sea of farmland,
Mm-hmm.
somewhere in. See, my guess is Louisiana.
Mm-hmm. So maybe this
How
kind of a
far
region
south? I'm
again.
not sure.
Mm.
Yeah, maybe up there. It's kind of hard to tell exactly how far south we could be,
Hmm.
but that's definitely the vibe I'm getting.
So would you say the crepe myrtle would kind of exclude like southern Missouri, or would that still be possible?
Great question. I think not 100% on this one, but I think you would probably not see crepe myrtles that often
Mm-hmm.
on the northern side,
Mm.
as opposed. Actually, you start to see things like eastern white pine and even spruce showing up towards the northern. The closer you get to St. Louis, for example,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and things like crepe myrtles become way less common.
Right. Interesting. Like, yeah, I still don't know what I think about this region, but then again, I don't really have another good idea. So
Yeah,
I'm ready to be wrong here. I'm ready to be wrong. Let's send
this
it in,
one's
shall we?
interesting.
Just go on the try point here.
I think we send it.
Let's go.
This is
You like
definitely.
Louisiana, it's your state, so let's give it a
I,
go.
I like Louisiana.
Oh yeah, nice, dude.
Let's
Well done.
go.
Insane
Oh, I'll
guess,
take it.
honestly. That's way
Yeah,
closer than I could ever
insane.
get.
Yeah, dude, that was great because again, we were really just looking at the plants and just kind of putting
Right.
the pieces of the puzzle together.
Definitely. That's so beautiful, honestly. I love it.
Yeah, awesome. I love getting these kind of guesses right.
Yeah, so let's look back on it there. So we had the crepe myrtle to determine that it's likely south, not somewhere that freezes. Now, what was the so we had the cypresses as well, more of an
The
eastern
cypresses
thing,
was
is that correct?
yeah, the cypresses and the eastern cottonwood were big
Eastern
hints.
cottonwood. That's the one I got to think of.
Yeah.
I mean, you can
Yeah.
Eastern cottonwood's also predominantly south, or just eastern generally.
Oh, they have a
Wide range,
gigantic
yeah.
range. If you want to look it up on iNaturalist, it's huge.
Let's do
They
that.
actually, Yeah, try eastern cottonwood. Right there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they are impressive in the amount of different climates they can tolerate.
Right.
But they always prefer, in my experience, growing near water courses, in floodplains, stuff like that.
Mm. Mm.
So, and I knew from personal experience that they were rather common in the Mississippi alluvial plain.
Right. Nice. Very good. Okay, and no pines to be seen again. So this is
Yes,
telling
that's
me that I
another
would never guess here with pines.
exactly. That's another great point is that we didn't even see a single pine
Mm.
in that one.
Even though
So
we
it's like
expected to, yeah.
we did, and they kept being cypress trees. So then I was like, where do I see a lot of cypress trees?
Actually, in
And
hindsight, we
Mississippi
did
alluvial
see a
plain.
Mississippi play as well. So there you go.
There we go. That was another hint.
Yeah, indeed. Although I was really trying to block it out. So again, I'll try and look away from the blades here because I don't want to know. I like to guess along with you. So okay. I mean, maybe it was premature here. Let's take a look at this. Would you prefer
Yeah,
to
this
be
is interesting.
in the summer or the winter here?
Typically prefer to be in the summer, especially
Check it
if we're
out.
dealing with like deciduous trees.
Okay. So this immediately gives me a bit of a southern vibe. Let's take a look at the trees here. So I
Yeah,
immediately didn't notice any pines here as well.
right. No pines. I think I
Oh,
see. I might be wrong.
eastern cottonwood? It has a pretty thick trunk.
Look at the. Yeah, get a closer look at some of those leaves.
Maybe not.
I
They're
don't
not
think
heart
that's
shaped.
cottonwood.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't call that cottonwood, but yeah, I'm actually not sure about this one.
Interesting. Should we venture down the road here? So this one, oh, this is the, is that a live oak?
That's what I was thinking too.
Hmm.
I'm actually that's my hunch. Just looking
Yeah.
at the overall shape and also the small dark green leaves.
Yeah.
Definitely
Spindly.
looks like live oak, and that's a huge hint right
So
there.
that's southern. When we're talking live oaks, we're normally talking southern, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, seeing live oaks means uh coastal plain near the Atlantic or Gulf Coast. Oh, we got a pine. That's
Yeah, I'm pretty
nice.
sure that was a pine. Eh?
Yeah, 100%.
Should we make our way down the road and try and find our pine?
Let's do it. Let's do it. Yeah, this is looking, man, we're getting a lot of southeast
It's
today.
nice. It's part of
Yeah.
your favorite place to guess, right? So
I know. I wish I would get more of these instead of the corn desert
yeah, you got to
thing
play
all the time.
arbitrary US. Good map.
Yeah, I need to. Thank you for showing me this one.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's probably the best US map, I think.
Ooh, what do we have here?
Yeah. So what's this one here then?
Yeah, zoom
Oh,
in
so
on
is this
those
a
leaves.
sugar
Oh,
sweet? Wait, yeah, sweet. I forget what it's called. Right, sweet gum.
sweet gum.
Yeah.
Yeah, you had it. Yeah,
Nice.
it sure is. Look at those. This is a perfect example of a sweet gum. Check out those star-shaped leaves.
You
And
got it.
yeah, they tend to grow quite tall as well, and you'll often see them on roadsides like this. So again, very useful plant for GeoGuessr. More evidence that we're in the
It's
southeast.
an apple tree or something. What's
I
this one?
think that's a pear.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's one of the ornamental pears that you see very often in the south as well.
So when it's ornamental pear, are they actually producing fruit, or is it literally just called ornamental
I
because
think it's
it's just planted for the looks?
I think it's just the flowers and maybe some fruit, but I don't think they're edible.
Right. I see.
I
I see.
I just remember them for giving me horrible allergies as a kid.
I see. The fruit, or just them being there?
Oh, the flowers. Oh my
Right.
gosh, it's
Right.
it's awful.
I see. I see. Okay, so not many pines here. That's definitely going to factor into our guess, I would assume.
Yeah, I saw. Yeah, just that one we saw earlier.
Ooh,
The terrain.
interesting. What's this
Oh,
tree
that looks
here?
like a China berry tree. Yeah, fairly certain that's what that is. Could be wrong, but
So
um,
not also something found south, or what?
yeah, you'll find it on in roadsides in the South U.S. It's non-native, but it's become popular. Oh wait, that might be tallow. the one you were just looking at.
I was
Zoom in a
I was
little
like I was
closer.
looking at. I was hoping it would be something I knew, but I was like, no, this is different.
You know what? I believe that's Chinese tallow, which is
Ah.
another non-native species.
Mm.
Kind of looks like cottonwood in a lot of ways with the leaves, but and it's kind of hard to describe what I'm looking at. But I basically saw these almost every day from, so I'm so used to what they look like.
Right, nice.
But they also have like similar leaf, kind of like almost a heart-shaped leaf shape.
They're very tiny
Um,
leaves this time as well.
Tiny leaves. Yeah,
Yeah.
they tend to be smaller leaves than the eastern cottonwood. I see
Mm.
a palm too on the left.
Oh,
Uh,
true. That changes things a bit, doesn't it? Now it has to be really
it
south.
does. Yeah, so more evidence that we gotta be like at least Savannah, Georgia, in
Right.
south.
Yeah. I was just looking at this like tiny house with two massive red pickups. It's the land of
Right.
freedom, baby.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Oh my gosh, that canal is interesting.
Yeah, these
That
poles as
man,
well.
this almost strikes me as I know I said this before,
Mm.
but like we had one literally one round ago, but it almost looks like Louisiana again.
Yeah, I was thinking Louisiana is one of my main thoughts here, honestly, this time.
Seeing a canal like that almost makes me think New Orleans.
Mm.
Could be wrong though.
Right, because it's
But New
very,
Orleans has
very low lying, right? So
yeah, it has a lot of canals.
you can, yeah, it's all like, yeah, like that's even like a big one, but like, yeah, I guess I'd imagine like, yeah,
Right.
look at that, yeah.
Yeah, wherever we are, it's extremely we gotta be pretty close to the coast. It's extremely
I kind
flat.
of like Louisiana as well. I'm noticing a few front plates here, which I was not meant to be looking at, but I was kind of like that as well, just because I felt some of the houses looked a bit Texan to me. I don't know, some kind of like Texan vibe about this kind of house or something. I don't know if that's at all accurate, but
That's no, yeah, you would know more about that than I do. Yeah,
mm,
it could be in like Beaumont or something. That's extreme southeastern Texas.
and the palm also does fit for that area, right? Like it's not out of the question.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, certainly. It has a very similar climate to New Orleans.
And I also kind of feel better about that side. Say just like if I'm playing by myself here, and I'm like maybe trying to go around. Is it pronounced mobile, or how do you pronounce it?
Oh, Mobile.
Mobile. That's right.
Mhm.
If it was around that area, feel like we'd see more pines. Would that be true? Maybe.
Yes, definitely. From
Yeah.
my personal experience, you see a lot more pines around.
Right.
Definitely.
Right. So that could also make us feel better about going this kind of area here or something like that.
Yeah,
Honestly, where would you go?
definitely.
You're the Louisianan. We should defer to your
Right.
judgment here.
Let me look around just a little more.
Yeah, let's find
Yeah,
another tree. That's what
yeah,
this is
maybe
about.
go down the road just a tad.
Ooh,
Let's
look at
see.
these.
Wow, yeah.
These are thick boys as well.
Yeah. Beautiful. Beautiful palms.
Just
We
trying
got
my best not to look at
railroads.
these plates. Okay. Ooh, switching into winter.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
No, let's not go this way. Maybe
Yeah,
more like on the other
it
direction.
just looks all too familiar, is what I'll say.
Right. Oh, that's a
It
city.
just really
Elder.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, we
I
have
think
Texan
that
flags. Okay.
well, I think that might answer our question.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, I mean, this has to be Houston. There's nowhere
Right.
else it could be.
Right. Boom.
So so what direction are we facing when we're
Oh, so the
seeing that?
city is actually to our west. We're on an east-west road here.
Perfect. We're probably somewhere near Galveston Bay.
Galveston Bay?
Yeah, or actually, yeah,
Oh.
or Baytown. Yeah, not that. Yeah, Baytown, a little bit to the north. You were close to there
Oh,
earlier.
Baytown. Yeah, gotcha. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Somewhere in that area is my guess.
Just trying to see if I can find a nice big intersection, something like that, maybe. Yeah, because that's like directly west. That we could be right on it here, because that's directly west of the city center. Yeah,
100%.
yeah.
Yep.
And
Very
then
confident in
it
this
does
one.
make sense, very similar latitude to New Orleans.
Yep.
And as I said, the house kind of looked Texan, so maybe I
All the
was cooking.
stars are aligning
Maybe
here.
I was cooking. Let's see it. Oh, nice. Very good.
Boom.
Good guess.
Yeah, right down the street.
Just
That was a
about.
fun one.
Ooh, these trees. Birches,
Ooh.
right?
Oh, yeah, birches. Yeah, look at that bark real quick.
Mm.
Yeah, I think that could be like notice how pale it is? That could be birch.
Mm. It's kind of very overexposed, so we might need to look the other side of the road
Yeah.
here.
First thing I notice is just the number of conifers surrounding us.
Everywhere, right?
Looks very northern.
And yet, I don't know northwest or northeast. I have a hunch, but okay, I have a hunch that it's more northeastern here, but I'm curious to see what we find out.
Yeah, is that eastern white pine to our left
Ooh,
over the road there?
it's reaching, but then
It's reaching.
is it? Is it?
Zoom in a little bit more.
Looks a bit different to the last one, I think.
It's kind of hard to tell. We might need to get a little closer.
Let's do that. So this
Man,
is
those
it.
are some really small needles.
The leaves are
I
definitely
see,
less organized than the last one we saw. That's for sure.
for sure. And I see cones too,
All right.
dangling on some of those branches,
Hmm. Yes.
especially on the
Definitely
on the
some cones.
left.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you look to the left,
Oh,
especially on the
sorry.
tips of those branches, I think we're probably looking at two different species of trees here. I think we're looking at either a
Oh, yeah. This is
spruce,
something different.
yeah, and then like if you look further down towards us, there's a pine
Hmm.
on the thing on the right there. Yeah, with the larger leaves, those are pines.
Oh, do you mean these ones?
Oh, sorry, no, the one that's like right in front of us.
Right, right, right. They're just so similar looking. So that's a
Yeah,
spruce and that's a pine. Yeah, they're very. It's yeah. They blend into one, but yeah, you can actually
they
tell the
do,
difference.
they
Yeah.
do. Yeah, it takes a lot of time to kind of like learn to tell them apart, but
Well,
man,
really, like as much as they look the same to me immediately, like the pine needle's way longer than the spruce ones. So
yes, that's the main thing
yeah,
I'm looking at here
yeah,
is the needle length.
yeah.
Let's keep going down the road a little bit
Let's do
because
that. Property
it'd be nice
marker
to get
there.
a few more
Interesting.
clues here.
I could have been tempted to go Canada here. I think.
Right. No, that's a good idea because we could be very close to the Canadian.
Ooh. So that is a
Yeah,
birch, I would imagine, or is it something else?
yeah, I'm actually with you there.
Mm-hmm.
That could definitely be birch.
Mm-hmm.
Also, the tree behind it, um, look at some of the leaves a little bit lower on the tree.
Oh, sorry.
It's really caught my attention because, yeah, look at those
Very
leaves.
intricate.
Very intricate. I think those are it might be what's called an Atlantic white cedar
Mm-hmm.
or a northern white cedar.
Mm-hmm.
I might be mixing up my names here, but that's something you find a lot near the Great Lakes.
Mm-hmm. That
I'm
is
kind of looking it up on my
interesting.
end. Yeah, northern white cedar. I think that might be what we're looking.
If we're near the Great Lakes. Hmm.
Right. Or actually, looks like you can also find them around in like Vermont, northern New
That's where
York.
I
So
was
they have a
thinking.
pretty
Yeah.
large range.
That's where I was thinking here, to be honest. Because it's just so
Yeah.
many
Oh my
trees. That's the
gosh.
problem with
Look at this.
the near the Great Lakes. I think maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, we're definitely somewhere near the Canadian border, very far.
Hmm. Hmm. Oh, some ferns here. I think. Let's see. Yeah.
Yes, on the ground. Actually, I think we're looking at Christmas fern is the thing closest to the pavement there,
Mm-hmm.
to the gravel. Yeah, you get a lot of those in the eastern U.S.
I think, Phil, that ferns might be my favorite plants overall.
They're, dude, who doesn't love ferns? They're so graceful.
That's what I'm saying, bro. Exactly right. Oh, look at. So we have a lot of pines going, or spruces going on here.
Yeah,
A lot of spruces.
yeah. I'm still kind of learning to tell them apart myself, but could be looking at red spruce
Also, what was
if
this
we're
one?
if
Is
we're
this the
around.
same one we were having before? The what was this one called?
That's the one that I'm thinking is northern white. That'll
Northern
be a
White. Northern White. Sorry.
northern white cedar.
Cedar. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, That's my
I always
guess.
get cedar and cypress mixed up for no reason, but I don't know why.
Yeah.
What are the characteristics of a cedar as opposed to a cypress?
That is a great question. Honestly, like I like cedar. I think they might be a group of trees that you find in around the Mediterranean Sea,
Mm.
like cedars of Lebanon,
Yeah, yeah, that's right.
that kind
Yeah.
of thing.
Biblical.
So,
True.
so
Hmm.
like I think, and some of the trees in North America have like acquired that name seemingly at random. Like the
Right.
eastern red cedar is a juniper, but they just slapped the name cedar on there.
Interesting.
I think it might be a similar story for the northern white cedar.
Right. Look at this property marker. I think that's something. I'll let you have your guess first, so then I can swoop in with what I think those property markers might be.
Absolutely.
Anything else to
I
look
will
here, or are
say,
you happy with the what you're seeing?
man, like I think everything that we're seeing is pointing to it being like very far north,
Yes.
either near the Great Lakes or Maine,
Mm-hmm.
near the Canadian border,
Yep.
Vermont, New Hampshire.
Yep.
That's all possible. And I think, and the thing that's pointing me in that direction is mainly the what I believe to be northern white cedar that's
Yeah.
extremely abundant, like in
Yep.
all directions. It's all over the place.
Okay.
That in combination with the spruce
Yep.
and birch trees, most
Mm-hmm.
likely, with the pale bark that we've been seeing. And also Christmas ferns on the ground too.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's pointing in that direction.
It
But
was looking very graceful. That plant.
oh, so graceful. This is such a
So
beautiful
that's a good one
forest.
to remember, I think. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
this whole you're right. This whole round is really pleasant. I would love to live here, honestly. I could definitely see
Yeah.
myself doing that.
Honestly, me too. But yeah, I I can't confidently say where in that region that I mentioned we're at, but anywhere around the northern Great Lakes or northern New York, Vermont, Maine, I feel like all of those are great guesses.
Yeah. And so I feel like you're spot on here. I feel like, well, firstly, I also think that's where I'd go, but I think the property markers might be Vermont ones or New York. So
Wow,
I'm
that's
thinking,
extremely useful information.
yeah, that's the thing. Like I'm not so sure about that. I don't like some people really know their U.S. Urban stuff, but not me. But I feel like I've seen people talking about those. They also have them in Quebec and Ontario, so you have this kind of quad point here where
Oh,
there's a lot of them.
really?
Yeah,
Oh, that's interesting.
but we're on the
Well,
U.S.
I
map, so we're
I
chilling.
say, yeah, let's trust that intuition and go Vermont because
Okay,
that narrows it down way more than what I had.
let's go Cornwall, Vermont. Is we right? Nope. Wow.
Oh
Seattle.
my gosh.
Okay, so let's break this one down then. Let's
Yeah, let's see
think
what
about
went
where it went
wrong.
wrong. Mm.
Yeah, don't put this one in the video.
Too bad it's going in.
I'm kidding. But yeah, no, this is a great example of a lot of ecosystems can look very similar
That's for sure.
across the continent, and even ones that feature different species. So I thought we were looking at northern white cedar.
Hmm.
We were probably looking at let's see, where exactly was this? It's like
Yeah, good question. I think there was some
west of
over
Seattle.
here. Oh right, yeah, west of Seattle. I thought you were looking for the cedar.
Uh, I'm on iNaturalist right now. I'm gonna see if I can narrow this down to, because I'm really curious to what species that was.
Mm, mm.
Really curious about that. Let's see.
Also the property markers.
Uh
Interesting.
there's something called Western red cedar.
Western red. Ah, gosh.
Yeah, believe it or not. There's also, oh my gosh, there's a lot of things, but yeah, I think we were looking at probably Western red cedar because it looks like it's very common in this area.
Oh, here it is again. Hmm.
Yep. Oh, look at that. That's a cool plant. See, I'm learning stuff because
Yeah.
I was not familiar with this plant, and I don't think I've ever been placed in a forest like this in GeoGuessr yet
Right.
on like in like this particular area.
Yeah, and the annoying thing is this is like the only place in the US I've been. So
Really?
yeah, yeah, I've been to
Oh, that's
Seattle because my
interesting.
grandpa lives in Vancouver. So Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Damn. So I know similar forest. You know, He lives in West Vancouver. There's plenty of forest around
That's
there.
awesome.
So
Yeah, I've always wanted to go up to Vancouver someday.
I feel
Beautiful
like
area.
Vancouver, in my opinion, like the best city in North America. But that's just me.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. I've seen the photos. It looks so nice. But yeah, no, this is actually a great example. Which
Definitely.
is yeah, like when you're going off of just plants, sometimes you are a continent away from what you're guessing.
That's true because I mean,
We
similar latitude, quite similar
Yep.
climates, really.
Yeah,
Um,
similar latitude. And where you have similar climates, you also get similar vegetation, and
yep.
it can look very, very similar. It's just a very interesting feature of kind of like how these ecosystems work.
That's an interesting
But
one.
yeah,
I mean, when we loaded in, I think I said like it could be. I was thinking either north, east, or west, but I thought more east. So that's interesting. Maybe had I not said that, maybe had I like said maybe thinking more west, then it could have gone completely different. But we just both kind of agreed on this, and then it was like, hard to get out of the
yeah.
tunnel vision. Eh?
This if this does anything for me, it inspires me to learn about my northwestern plants because
Definitely.
I have a lot to learn
And
there.
there are so many points on offer. If you're playing against someone, for example, when I play in the World Cup or something, and I get the Northwest vibe and they don't, gosh, that's crazy damage. So definitely got to think about. Okay, look, I think we've been going for a while, and I know it's pretty
Yeah,
late over there. I think we go for a quick fire skewed US, and I'll let you do the guessing here.
let's do it.
And we'll do like 30 seconds per round. Okay.
Yeah, sounds good. Actually, can I take a quick bathroom break?
Oh yeah, of course, of course.
All right.
How about we just end it there, and then we could maybe do this another time. That would be fine, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah, because
dude. Yeah,
we're
sounds
already
good to
over
me,
an
man.
hour. So yeah, Phil, thank you so much for coming on the channel. I mean this has been a real treat, quite simply. So I learned so
Dude, thank
much.
you. No, thank you so much for having me. Like, this has been an absolute blast. Yeah, thank you for reaching out to me, and making this happen.
Of course. And
Seriously.
guys, if you made it this far in the video, to the very end of an hour plus long video, then you have to go follow him, bro. You have to go follow Phil. I'll have both the links for Twitch and YouTube in the description. Go follow on both. Check out when he streams. And yeah, any final message to the people, Phil?
Oh man, just yeah, like he said, I stream. Oh, sorry. Hopefully I didn't cut out there. I stream on Twitch. Usually Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Still kind of trying to figure out a schedule. But I do GeoGuessr focusing on plants, and it's a lot of fun. Lately, I've just been doing North America because that's what I know. But I hope to expand that to the entire world eventually, and just learn. I enjoy just kind of learning with my chat and having a good time.
For
And also,
sure.
I am working on the YouTube thing too, but it's a learning curve, but I'm kind of getting there.
Well, I can tell you the first video I watched of yours, the first GeoGuess one, very entertaining. So go check that out if you guys enjoyed this one as well. But yeah,
Thank you, thank you.
I think that's going to be about it. I was just thinking also, I'm pretty sure Alok, a guy in the community who also is quite obsessed with Russian trees, or at least he's known to be. He, I think, has like a world map of vegetation, of interesting vegetation areas. So perhaps that could be another a follow up that we could do or something like that. But
Oh,
yeah,
100%. I think I heard about that one. Is that
yeah,
the like a vegetation world or
think
something?
that's the name of it. Yeah.
Something like that? Yeah. Yeah, I was told about that in my chat, and that's definitely something I've been meaning to do. So I'd be super down for that.
Okay, yeah, we could definitely run that. I even think like maybe a bit of a duel against each other could be quite interesting on that. Maybe
Yeah, definitely.
I mean I know so many like camera metas that even if you know the species way better than me, it might be a bit unfair. So we'd have to figure out some way to make it even. But that could be definitely a lot of fun.
As long as it's just Louisiana, I'm down.
Exactly. As long as it's near the Mississippi, we got those, those cypress trees and stuff. Yeah.
Yep. Louisiana only, I'll take you on.
Oh, for sure, for sure. You never know. I'm gonna get that Lafayette round correct. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, guys, that's it for the video. Thank you for watching. And tune in for the main channel video, which will be coming hopefully not too long. A big thanks to Phil, and I will say goodbye.